Yeah, hockey
Oops.
pads, hockey helmet, no pants, cowboy boots.
What is this again, you said?
This is the kid's like outfit to keep himself safe from Santa's little helpers
Oh, in this movie.
in this movie. Yeah, it's
Okay.
tremendous.
Yeah.
Uh,
And what's it called again? Something exports?
Rare
Rare.
exports.
Rare.
Yes.
I cannot wait. Okay, rare
And it's actually a
exports.
good one to like get in. It's like I should have watched it on like at the like beginning of Advent, because that's kind of when the setting takes on, is at the beginning of Advent.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just tremendous. My Danish friends introduced me to it.
I have to watch. I have to watch,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that it's in Danish and in subtitles and not like dubbed, because that always ruins a movie.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like you want a good comedy, watch a dubbed movie.
The only non-subtitled bits are when they speak English.
That's fair.
Which,
To which
so
they put subtitles. Well, they probably don't even have to, because everybody speaks English.
everybody speaks
We're
English.
just the
Yeah.
only idiots that can't,
Well, I mean, Finnish is an incredibly difficult language. It's one of
Yeah,
the hardest languages on earth.
right.
Well,
So,
let's hit it.
all right. Welcome, POJCasters, to another episode of the Party on John Cast. My name is, of course, the Reverend Todd Laddick, the Rockin' Reverend Todd Laddick, and I am hailing from Newton, New Jersey, serving a congregation in Newton, New Jersey, no longer on higher ground, at least physically, than Sal. And joining us is...
Hello, Party on John Casters. This is Reverend Blake Severson, the Viking Vicar, now coming to you from 4 hours in the past and many thousands of miles to the north, in Anchorage, Alaska, as
Yeah.
I live and breathe.
To the north and very west.
To the north and very west and very dark. It is 9 o'clock in the morning where I am broadcasting or recording from, and it is just as dark as the middle of the night.
Oh, wow.
In fact, by the time we get done here, I might see some light in the sky.
And it gets dark by 3:30, you said, right?
The sun is on or below the horizon by 3:30.
Wow.
And it is dark by 4.
Wow.
So
Yeah, so you're just having the settling light 3:30 to
yeah,
4.
we lose 5 minutes of daylight a day. Yep, and then that peaks in 6 days, and then we start to gain 5 minutes a day
Is
after the
this the
20th.
30 days of after the 20th, right? After
Yeah,
the
the
equinox, or
21st. Yeah, 21st is the solstice. Yep.
the solstice, yeah.
Yeah.
So are you then saying that this is great? This is fascinating for our East Coast listeners, I'm sure. But are you saying then that then it'll start to get back brighter again? Is this what the 30 days of night are, basically, or is it longer than 30 days?
Up in the north, it is. Yes, I have
Yeah.
a friend at the church that I'm serving in Eagle River, Alaska, just outside of Anchorage, and he works up on the slope. They call it Imperial Bay.
Okay.
And the sun has not broken the horizon for 2 weeks now, and will not do so for another 2 or 3.
Oh, wow. So you're not quite that north.
No, because here's the thing that will blow the listeners' minds, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Listeners, wherever you are, think about where you could get if you drove for 20 hours from where you are right now.
Okay.
Okay.
In any direction?
Let's say south.
Yeah, I know where I can get. Yep.
Okay. If you leave Prudhoe Bay and drive 20 hours south, you will get to my house.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you're
And
like
it's
from
still in
Florida to
and it's still in the same state.
Okay. You're like South Florida to New Jersey.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Alaska is bigger than anybody can wrap their head
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. Now, so you're not in the Anchorage area then?
I live in Anchorage,
Oh, you live
and
in Anchorage,
the church is just outside of Anchorage in Eagle River.
and they're 20 hours north of Anchorage.
Prudhoe Bay is 20 where the darkness is that we're
Oh,
talking about.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
where 20 hours is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But it's
Wow.
all in the same. It's all in the same state.
Yep. Yep. Okay. But 20 hours is I mean, because even on the East Coast, I know that it gets darker here in New Jersey earlier than it does in South Carolina, and certainly earlier than it does in Florida, where my daughter lives. So,
Yes.
so that is just, and there you have maybe not entirely 20 hours, but a pretty decent chunk of that that span right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah. But
um,
they're also the place where you can sit and watch in the summer. You can sit and watch, and the sun does a circle in the sky if you did a time lapse.
oh wow, it just stays in the same spot.
The sun is up and never goes. It never even goes below the horizon for like 30 days.
Wow. So it's 30 days of night and 30 days of day.
Yep.
Oh, that's insane. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Interesting. Um, wow. So
So fun
yes.
facts from Alaskans, right?
Yes, and this is our first podcast where we are we're still the same continent, but but we
It doesn't
are
feel like it after doing the drive. You
it,
really feel like you did something.
you do, yeah. So here we are, and
We
we're
are.
making this time zone thing work, and you're in the night, and we're not even yet close to approaching night. So here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sal would have been here with us, folks, but his job obviously came in and wrecked things for him. So if he does pop on, that would be great. If not, next time. But with that said, that brings us into our Hebrews segment. Sal, what are you drinking? Or Sal, what are you drinking? I bet you he's drinking a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, Sal's drinking a Dunkin' Donuts and cursing the world.
And cursing the world, unless he was able to get a Starbucks today. Yes.
So I'm drinking two things that are, or kind of using two things that are very Alaskan. So really three. So there's this coffee company called Kaladi Brothers that's in Alaska, like kind of staple, especially in Anchorage. They make some really great coffee. We've been ordering it from afar for, basically a decade now. And so I'm drinking out of a Kaladi Brothers cup that also did a partnership with one of my favorite Alaskan artists. And so it wraps all the way around.
Nice.
Which is a super cool. And so she does ink print. So she carves linoleum, rolls ink on it, and then prints it on paper. But this is part of the Alaska Front Range, and it's a hike that I did a couple of years ago, where you go from this mountain all the way back to this one. And we were going to do this one, but it was so foggy, we actually never saw that one all day.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is wild. So we didn't do it. But so that's cool. But then in the cup is some tea, Alpine tea from Summit Spice, which is a great spice and tea company here in Anchorage. So it's like a licorice flavored, which is a good, Scandinavian Christmassy flavor, and it's really, really good. Doesn't have caffeine, which is what I need right now because I've had way too much coffee already today.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I'm drinking.
Do you so is that tea company are you able to purchase from it online?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I can find out.
Yeah, find out, because and obviously if there's a link to it, we can.
You can definitely order Kaladi Brothers coffee online and have it.
Yeah.
And that's well worth it.
The
and then
tea.
Adrift or Adrift Prince is the artist. She has an Etsy shop. If you
Okay.
like really cool mountain art, she does amazing things.
Yeah, send the links and I'll put them in our notes, and our listeners can our listeners slash viewers can check them out. And I will too, because I'm getting more and more into tea myself. And well, I guess this is a good segue into, that was everything, right, Blake?
That's all of it. Yep.
Yeah. So that's a good segue into me. I obviously have overall given up caffeine just because of how it plays out with my anxiety. But I found that, like, if I do 27 ounces of like chai tea, which is lower in caffeine because of the spices and stuff that are in it, it doesn't bother me. I don't get the jitters. I don't have anxiety. It doesn't keep me up late at night. So, like, if I do it early enough. So I've been enjoying some chai tea and then doing herbal teas at night, and really getting into tea. But what I'm drinking today is not tea. But it is distilled, but it is not alcohol. So this is the big news for me, for everybody. It's not for me at this point, but for everybody else. I have decided to give up drinking alcohol completely. Just isn't doing me any good. Certainly plateauing in my weight loss, which doesn't make me happy. And I know that's not entirely drinking either, but it's not doing me any good psychologically either. Just with the things going on in my head, depression and all of that just doesn't help the cause. So this is a ho 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 moment. I'm gonna have to put my ho 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 hat on here, because okay, here we are. And for our listeners who do know that I frequent Angry Eric, that does not mean that you get a break from seeing me there, because there's water, there's cider there, non-alcoholic, and there's plenty of chips and good company. So you'll see me there anyway, but I won't be drinking beer. With that said, and I also host, shameless plug for people in our area, we host a Theology on Tap there on the first Thursday of every month at 6 p.m. So that is Eastern time for our Eastern listeners, not Alaskan time. So but with that said, so what I have found, and I've also fallen in love with Seedlip, which Blake has introduced us to in the past. But there's this company called Spiritless, and they make something called Kentucky 74. I meant to bring the bottle up, but I forgot. But they make Kentucky 74, which is a non-alcoholic bourbon.
I've heard about that one. How is it?
It is phenomenal. Here, I don't know if you can even. I'm gonna have to.
It's your green screen is.
Oh, hey, there we are. So here it is. Oh, well, this is a non-alcoholic Manhattan I made with the Kentucky 74, with Lyre's non-alcoholic Rosso, which is an aperitif, like sweet vermouth, basically. And then of course I do put in bitters, which has alcohol, but at 3 or 4 drops, it's still it's less than 0.5% alcohol. So it's a non-alcoholic bourbon, non-alcoholic Manhattan, and it tastes phenomenal. What I would say about the whiskey is, if God were to have decided that it would be beneficial for humans to have a rich and bold tasting bourbon water, this is what it would taste like. I mean, it doesn't have the mouthfeel or the back end burn that you would get from the liquor, but it does taste like a bourbon. And when you make the Manhattan, it tastes like a Manhattan minus the alcohol. It's just amazing how like legit it tastes. I even actually made a vegan bourbon caramel sauce with it, and we open it up and you just smell bourbon. It's just like, this is so beautiful. So it even cooks well. I mean, it's amazing. So cheers. And that was founded by 3 women. So cheers to those 3 women.
Skull.
Skull. Exactly. the Viking Vicar has once again hailed us in.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that then brings us to our. I'm going to do this differently just because.
Sure.
Most excellent music segment.
Holiday
Trying to get the ASMR crew to
the
start joining the podcast.
ASMR. We'll see what I do with the effects.
Hashtag ASMR. Yeah.
Hashtag yes. And I wonder if it'll come out this way, but the most excellent music segment.
There you go.
Holiday
There you go.
edition.
We did it. We did it. Whole new audience.
Oh boy. We'll see if I have to change the audio and make it work, or if it does it manually.
Oh, right.
But I can do that. So, alrighty. Yeah. So I guess I'll go first, since Blake, you led us in the drinks. So I have been trying my hardest to get in the holiday spirit, and I know with a Santa hat on, that's hard to believe. But actually, I've been doing things like wearing Santa hats and silly sweaters and listening to Christmas music just to get myself into the spirit, because this year has just been very, very hard on me. And another revelation, if you don't follow me on Facebook, but we just lost our cat right after Thanksgiving, and the week, really a week later, and that was hard. It was very hard, and this year itself has been hard. And Sophie herself is like, she is always my best buddy, and she would like always be there at night when everybody's sleeping and I'm alone, and there she is watching TV with me. So I really I feel the loss a lot, because like, every time I'm sitting there watching TV, there's a hole to the right of me, like of that warm furry body that would be there. So it that was tough. And then all the things that have happened this year that we've talked about briefly in the few episodes we've had this year. I mean, that kind of explains the year it's been, at least for me, and I'm sure for all of us, with the things going on, is the amount we've recorded, or not been able to record, rather.
Yeah,
So,
even when we were in that one year, we were in the same time zone.
yeah, that was this. Yeah, we just weren't able to record because of things going on.
Yeah.
Ironically, we had less time to record with you in the same time zone
Right.
than we had when you were in a different time zone. Yeah. So, and actually seeing how this is working, I don't think this is going to be so bad. Being that it's only 4 hours difference, but it definitely puts a spin on things. Anyway, so I've been listening to really a couple of I put a whole mix of things together, and I've been listening to somebody by the name of Lindsay Sterling. I don't know if you've heard of her.
Yep.
But she had won America's Got Talent years ago, I think 2010, and since then her career has just kind of taken off through YouTube videos and other things, where she's a violinist and a dancer, and had very modest beginning. In fact, her parents told her she could only learn one or the other, violin or dancing, and when she picked violin, they could only pay for 15-minute lessons. And they said, well, there's no way you're gonna they told her there's no way your child's gonna be able to learn with only 15-minute lessons. And yet Lindsay was very obviously committed and dedicated, and she's one of the greatest violinists I've ever heard. And she dances like the best of anybody while playing the violin, which is not a natural thing to do. So if you know violinists, they're like this, and like dancing around like this doesn't seem like a very natural thing to do. So she had to learn how to do that, and has mastered it. And she's just a beautiful soul. And with that said, I will also say I just released a single, "Mary Did You Know," which was originally supposed to be on the album that I released in 2021, the "What Child Is This" Christmas album. And so I just released that single, and that's a shameless plug, but I'm going to plug it, and I'll plug my Christmas album too. So I'll put those in the episode notes. Check my Christmas album out. It's awesome. And especially "Mary Did You Know," because that's the newest one. But since that's only one song, check the rest of the album out as well. All right.
Oh,
Shameless plug. Hashtag.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, this has been it's been tough for me to kind of get into the groove too. So we moved.
You can say that.
My wife and daughters left on July 31st from Cleveland. I didn't leave for another 2 weeks, just about, which was a really long time. And then I drove for 9 days to get up here. And I started working with a less than 2-year-old coming to work with me every day, which you know exactly how well that went.
Oh yeah.
And then right after we got her childcare, I got COVID, and real bad. Like I mean, really, I got COVID on September 30th, and I am just now starting to feel like basically normal.
Yeah, that sounds like COVID.
It was awful. I mean, and it was weird because the first time it was a week and I was back. This strain that was going around up here just really rocked me hard. Obviously, the stress of moving across the world and all of that other stuff, I'm sure, contributed.
Sure it did.
But so yeah, it's been tough. But I've kind of gone back to some things that I've liked in the past, and one that I found that is a really good listen is the Liturgists, which is a group of musicians and artists, including Gungor, who I've always been a fan of, Michael Gungor. They did a Christmas album called "Oh Light," like OH Light, and it's just great. And there's specifically a song called "Oh Light" that I really love. We probably can't play it on here because we'll get popped for, you know, whatever. But
I'm
I
sure.
highly recommend that one. It's Gungor and All Sons and Daughters together, and it's just a really beautiful song. I'm hoping that we can get it together to have my wife sing it with our pianist for the Christmas services that we're doing. And then the other thing that I've been doing.
Would that be recorded if that happens?
It will be streamed.
Where does it stream?
On our Eagle River Presbyterian Church
Facebook page,
YouTube channel.
If that happens, or if it's streaming and it's on your YouTube channel, just send me the link to that, and I will put it up for people to check out. Even though it'll be after the holidays, they can check it out. It'd be cool.
Yeah, it'll still be recorded.
Yeah. But that would be awesome to see your wife sing that if it happens. That'd be cool.
Yes. And then the other thing that I've been listening to a lot lately is my ADHD has been raging because since we moved, you know how hard it is to find somebody that will write you a new prescription for ADHD medication?
I can only imagine, because I know how hard it is to find a freaking psychiatrist or psychologist or anything.
And even just like, I mean, one of the things that's been really remarkable is noticing just how many barriers there are to non-neurotypical people to do anything. Like the medication that we need to function like other people requires the most follow-up and the most follow-through and the most steps to get it. Like you can't just get a renewal. You have to go back to the doctor and get the renewal every single time. Which is not something that we're really good at doing. So I've been off it since we left Cleveland, and it's not going great. But one of the things that can help is, are you familiar with the lo-fi music style? So I think we should be okay. So it's just kind of like, I don't know, can you hear this? Yeah, it's not coming through. Anyway, it's kind of just like what I would call like music clips, or it's really basic kind of MIDI music, but it's just really, for whatever reason, it kind of calms my brain and helps me to focus. So that's what I've been listening to. And the channel I listen to get into the, kind of Christmassy winter spirit is Winter Chill, cozy lo-fi vibes. And it's pretty
You'll have to
great.
send a link to that, because first off, I personally would like to check it out. I don't have ADHD, but I do have anxiety, and that sounds like that could be a very good thing for that too. Because
yes, absolutely,
it's ironic because ADHD and anxiety are not the same thing, but yet they kind of equal the same results sometimes in certain in the sense of losing focus, because you're just like so
yeah, they are
different reason, but
there's a reason that they are known to be like BFFs in the comorbidities of stuff. Usually the anxiety for ADHD people results because of the ADHD.
Of course,
But so it's definitely helpful, but also it's just kind of nice. It kind of feels like you're sitting around a camp, sitting around a fireplace with snow falling anytime you listen to it, which is,
I want to listen to it. Yeah.
Right?
So
you can feel your body just, oh boy, that sounds great.
Send it to me today, and I will make sure it gets in the notes.
You got it. You got
awesome.
it.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's a Spotify playlist, by the way.
Oh, great. Oh, great. Yeah, great. Yeah. So, and speaking of that, whatever you do listen to, whether it's Spotify, YouTube music, or YouTube music, Apple Music, whatever the case may be, do know that my album and my single that just was released are on all of those major platforms, and many of the minor ones as well. So,
nice.
But Spotify, it is on as well.
Sweet.
So, well, then that brings us to our main segment, and we are rolling right along. Look at us go, Blake.
Well, when there's only two of us, right?
There's only two of us. It does. You know what? An extra person adds extra time. That is true. So
real quick, I just want to see. So it is 9:35.
Oh, please do. Yes, we've got to see this.
9:35.
Oh wow, and it's snowy out. Oh my goodness.
This is the snowiest it has ever been in the history of Alaska at this day.
At this day, okay. I was gonna say this isn't normal then for Alaska.
We had the snowiest November in history.
Wow.
And then we got another foot earlier this week, and that put it at the most snow at this point in recorded Alaskan history.
Wow. Well, welcome
Obviously,
home.
I'm sure it was snowier before they started keeping track.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
But like,
this isn't
since
recorded.
we've been keeping track, this is as deep as it's ever been.
This is recorded.
I can't really show you; it's really hard to see. But like, we have a chain link fence that goes around our front yard, and the snow is now deep enough in our yard that it is overflowing the chain link fence on one side.
Oh wow. Oh,
and the snow berms on some of the main roads are so high that you can't see people walking behind them on the sidewalk.
Oh wow. Oh
it's
wow.
Wild. We've had we're at like I think 4.5 to 5 feet of snow so far this winter.
Welcome home, Blake.
I honestly love it.
If you love the snow, this is heaven for you. This would be hell freezing over for me.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. Well, if you can take a snapshot with your phone, or not a snapshot, but a picture of your phone of outside right now, and we'll post that in the episode notes too.
You got it. You got it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's so deep that I had to dig a hole in the snow in the yard for the dog to go to the bathroom because the snow was taller than the dog.
Oh wow. 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 Like, what do you hold the dog? I'm like,
no,
go boy.
He's on his own. He's on his own. He's 90 pounds. I'm not doing that.
I was gonna say, I couldn't imagine you had like a little foofy dog.
Yeah, it's a Mastiff Lab, and the snow is taller than him.
Jeez, wow. Yeah, well, the little foofy dog you would have to hold up.
You'd have to dig a tunnel.
You would have to dig a total tunnel. Yeah. Oh boy. And don't pee on the walls.
For real. He has been peeing on the porch because he doesn't want to go into the snow, which
I
is
don't
not ideal. But
Not ideal, but
can't
I
blame
don't
him.
blame him. No. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that brings us to our main topic, which for today is just what is our theological challenge, the top theological challenge that we have during Christmas time or Advent, conveying to people, whatever it is.
Mhm.
I don't know who wants to go first on this.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
We're doing a Christmas pageant this week. Mostly I just wanted one less big sermon to preach. And
Mhm.
it was the thing they wanted to do, so I'm fine with it. And so I'm an interim, and so let them do what they do for Christmas. It's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about it. It's a no rehearsal, just show up. There's somebody's going to narrate something, and the kids are going to like put on costumes and go sit there. It's going to be easy. It's going to be
Yeah.
great. It's going to be a lot of fun. But it's Mary Sunday in the lectionary, and one
That's
of the
correct.
things that I've always found remarkable about her, especially her song, Mary's song, is like this moment is meant to just upend everything.
Oh, to totally upend it.
Right?
Yeah.
To flip it over, flip it upside down, right?
Yeah. It's almost
And
foreshadows the cleansing of the temple that's going to happen.
I mean, all of it, right? And then
All of it, yes.
you see, you just over and over in Jesus' life, you see how this manifests itself, right? He is saying, "You've heard it said, but I say to you," and overturning these like
Mm-hmm.
centuries old bits of wisdom and law. And I think with Presbyterians, especially pretty well off Presbyterians, it's tough to convince them that that's still what we're hoping for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I think that's the hardest point, is to get people to lean into that the kingdom of God is meant to flip it all upside down, and the
Yeah.
things that we are taught to value through our whole lives are meaningless, and the things that we are taught to disdain and reject through our whole lives are what it's all built on.
Yeah.
And who it's all built on.
Yeah.
And so I think that to me is probably one of the biggest challenges, how to do that, especially in a congregation. So Alaska, I'm sure nobody is surprised, is a fairly red state. It's
Doesn't
only
somebody live close enough to see Russia
yeah, which is
from our
hilarious.
backyard?
Because I mean, Wasilla is inland. Like Wasilla is in the middle of Alaska.
Yeah, so she
It's not even
gets.
close to an ocean. But whatever, let's not talk about that.
Who
But
cares? Yeah.
the reason that like Alaska is even kind of purple, which it actually is when you look at it in the grand scheme of things, is because the 350,000 people that live in Anchorage are generally blue, right? But as you go away from Anchorage, it just gets redder and redder and redder. Eagle River is this weird in between spot of people that like didn't want to live in Anchorage because it's a little too hippy dippy, but also don't want to live in the valley because it's too insane. And so it's a really fine line to tread in Eagle River. And we've had folks, not since I've been here, but in kind of recent, hold on a second.
Yep.
I'll keep talking while I'm moving.
Yep. No
We
problem.
have an automatic door lock in hold on.
Yeah, not a problem. It happens, as it were.
Yeah, but
Beautiful house, by the way.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's very 80s tastic. Got a chandelier.
Yes.
Where'd it go? There it is.
Oh, look at this. This is beautiful.
See the mirrors as well. There's lots of mirrors.
Folks, if you're just listening in, you have to go that now watch us. You have to watch us on YouTube, because you are otherwise missing out on the tour of Blake's home. You're missing out on a whole bunch of awesome stuff.
Oh, it's just great. But anyway, so this church had experienced some people leaving because it was not conservative enough. And they were mad at the denomination. They liked the church, they liked the people, but the denomination did stuff they didn't like. And, so one of the challenges that we'll have in this congregation is to figure out who we are, right? Do we want to try to out conservative the conservative churches? And honestly, there's no way a PCUSA church can do that in Alaska. It's not possible. It just can't be done. We can't compete with that. And so one of the bits of work that I'll be doing with them is kind of this Mary stuff, like saying, one, that's just not who we're supposed to be. But two, even if we wanted to be, we can't outdo them because they're just willing to go places that even the more conservative members of our congregation are not willing to go.
Right. And for good reason.
And for good reason. So it's interesting, but I think, that's the long way of saying, I think the message of Mary that Jesus' birth is going to upend it all. But then the part of that I think is challenging is that we are hoping for that to happen again. That this Christmas, right? Like one of the cool things about Christmas is that this might be the year that Jesus is reborn.
Absolutely.
Right. And he's going to upend everything, including what we have built our lives upon here in this place. It's not this remote, distant past thing.
It's not about the baby Jesus, but the coming Jesus.
It's this thing that's going to happen again.
Yep. But it's going to happen in a way that totally explodes everything. It's just going to,
most of us are not going to like very much.
It's not going to be a silent night, that's for sure. Not that the original one was very silent.
A Krampus night.
It's going to be more Krampus coming to town.
More Krampus, less Santa.
Nice one. I see what you did there. In case anybody didn't see my background. Good stuff. But wow, that is truthfully not very different than my theological challenge is the Mary song, the Mary response to God. I mean, really, Advent, for people, when we hit Advent, it always falls into December, and people's minds in America, the second you hit December, maybe it's this way in Europe too, I don't know, but certainly in America, the second you hit December, Christmas, it's like Christmas songs. Second November hits, our local radio station plays Christmas songs all the way from November through Christmas Day, and then it goes to regular songs again. And so everybody's on this mindset of Christmas, and they just want to skip over Advent. But without Advent, there's no purpose for Christmas. Advent is the reason we need Christmas to begin with. It's that we're in the darkness looking for the light, looking for hope and peace and joy and love. But being in isolation and darkness and in a world that's cold, callous, and cruel, and people want to skip over that and just hit the celebration, just like they want to skip over Lent and hit Easter. And you can't do that. You can't have Christmas without Advent. You can't have Easter without the wilderness period and without the suffering and the passion and people want just the happy celebration. So one of the struggles is getting people to understand, and in my church, it's manifesting with some people believe that I just hate Christmas songs and won't put Christmas songs in any service during December. And that's not true. If you, and I actually compiled a list just to make sure I'm not crazy about this, but they're scattered throughout the services, but I include a lot of Advent hymns because that's what the season is about. And if a Christmas hymn fits into the message of what I'm preaching that day, then I'll throw it in there. I have no problem doing that, but I'm not just going to do all Christmas hymns. And people have the perception that I do no Christmas hymns. So but it comes out of this consumerism. We want the fuzzy wuzzy, warm and cozy Christmas memory. So or feeling, and it's all about the feels rather than what the theology is behind it. And the hope, not only the hope of the baby Jesus that people were longing for in the day and age that came, but as you said, the hope we have, because we're still in the darkness looking for the light, the hope that we have.
Are we longing for it too?
Well, yes, are we longing for it too? And when this Jesus comes, it's not going to be the quaint little baby in a manger. It's going to be King Jesus, Lord Jesus, Jesus who comes down and says, hello,
Mhm.
I'm here and I'm upending everything. So
Mhm.
Mary's song was only begun with Jesus's life 2000 years ago. It is still waiting to be fulfilled, I think, in its fullness
Mhm.
yet. And that could happen now, like you said, that could happen in this moment,
Mhm.
this Christmas. So yeah, we're on the same page then in terms of our theological struggle, is getting people to understand that and to realize that that is what they're longing for. Because I think they are, I think everybody's longing for that, whether they articulate it that way or not.
Yeah,
And yet they want to skip
or they're
over it,
not. I mean, or they're not. They're
or they're
really
not.
happy with the way that things are, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
or they're not.
that's where your prosperity gospel ends up coming from. Is
You're
people
right.
who are very happy
You're right. There are
with how
very
the world
people who are
works,
very happy with the status quo. Yeah.
right? Very
Yep.
happy with the status quo, with how it works,
Hmm.
and they want to see it continue, and they believe that the economy of God is the same as capitalism, or whatever, right?
You're right. You're right. Yep.
And they're like, yeah, let's double down on this.
Yeah.
In fact, not only does everything in our world go to the highest bidder, but in fact, grace goes to the highest bidder as well.
Right. Right. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. No,
so
that's absolutely right. You're right. So there are the people who are really longing for it and may not know they're longing for it, and they're caught in the consumerism. And then there are the
mhm.
people who are just very happy with the consumerism, don't want anything to change about that because they've got something to profit off of it.
Yeah, and they're doing great.
And they're doing great.
One of the
Yep.
jokes I make probably too often when we're talking about, should our church do this, or do we need a CCLI, or do we need this, or what about this? I'm just like, listen, if Joel Osteen can get away with the things that he gets away with, I think we're going to be okay as a 100-member church in Alaska.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not looking at us.
Mm-mm.
Um,
Nope. Nope.
Yet
They've got bigger fish to
yet
fry.
we still do the right thing, right? Because
Yeah.
like, yeah, we probably should do this.
Yeah.
We need to
Right.
do this.
Yeah. And who said that ministry is risk-free? Like
Right.
Jesus didn't say, follow me and you will never face another risk again.
Indeed. Indeed.
Or if he did, I am in the wrong freaking Bible. You and I, Blake, are really in the wrong Bible.
I'm sure we could find a good one.
I'm sure we
If we wanted
could.
to.
I'm sure we could. Well, it could start with Jefferson's Bible.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Jesus said, but we cut out anything he did.
Yeah.
So, oh yes, you found the tea company. I see this in the chat. Awesome.
And they do ship. They do ship.
Oh, good. They do ship. So there we go. I'm gonna have to buy some tea from Alaska. That's really why I was asking, because I want to buy it.
It is super good, and they have, like, if you were to ever find your way up here,
I would love to find my way up there more in the summertime.
They have a shop, and you can taste test the tea before you buy it.
How far away are they from you?
What, the spice company?
Yeah.
15 minutes. It's in
15.
town.
Okay.
Yep, it's in town.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, Anchorage is a pretty, like, geographically large city. It's not a population large city, but it's pretty geographically large. It takes a solid 25 to 30 minutes to drive across it.
Okay.
Compared to what it is, and it's also it's long and kind of weird because of the way that the city is built on the mountains. Oh, hey, we actually get to see one today. We haven't seen the mountains. Yesterday was gorgeous. Yesterday
nice.
was absolutely stunning. It was perfectly clear. But when it's cloudy lately, like, we just don't see anything.
You're gonna turn us so we can see it now?
Let's see.
See if we can. This is the coolest, most awesome. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh heck yeah. I see them.
Yeah.
Oh, that is gorgeous. That is a winter wonderland right there.
Yeah, between those two pine trees there, you can see that's Snowhawk Mountain. But you can't see the high ones behind it. Snowhawk is one of the lower ones.
Well, I'm happy to see it.
Looks like everything above 3,000 is hiding in clouds again today.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Beautiful.
But
Beautiful.
it's stunning. It's great. It's good to be here. I'm looking forward to finally actually getting outside. We had one of the best falls that anybody around here can remember, and I was sick for the entire thing.
With COVID,
Yeah, it was bad. It was real bad. It was crazy because I rode my bike 20 miles on a Friday, did a bike race on a Saturday, and by Saturday night, something was wrong. So I probably rode my bike 20 miles with COVID, and then did a bike race and was wondering why I was so tired. And then that night I blamed it on the sushi bake that I ate at the bike race, which I mean was a reasonable guess because my COVID started with some GI problems, and I was like, it must have been that thing. But it was not. It was COVID starting.
So next time you can try it again and you're not going to get sick, possibly.
I don't think I will ever be able to eat it again. It was delicious when I ate it, but that taste is now forever connected to that
feeling. Yeah, I hate when that happens. Yeah,
never again. It was really good while it lasted, though.
That happened to my wife with General Tao's. She ate it, used to love it, and then one night she ended up throwing it up, and she can never eat it again. Never.
Yeah, never again.
It's gone.
Yeah. So, but yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting through Christmas and things toning down a little bit.
Good. Yeah, me too.
And being able to find some time to get outside. Fat biking was I don't know if you've ever heard. Have you heard of fat biking?
No.
So they're really fat tires. So think about the biggest mountain bike tire you've ever seen, and then double it.
They're
4-inch. They're 4-inch tires.
Oh wow! So like
right?
like that. Yeah. Wow. Wow.
And they're huge, and so it's a big deal. Something they invented up here because you can't go on snow without tires like that to float.
Oh sure. Sure.
And so I'm looking forward to doing some of that. The bikes are crazy expensive, but the Trek store in town rents them for $40 a day. So I'm gonna definitely do that. Hey.
Oh my goodness, look who we got. Look at this. Hello. Sal. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, hello. It's the mobile chaplain.
The mobile chaplain.
The mobile Reverend Angel of Death.
Yes, right.
Well, the Angel of Death was very mobile.
You were I mean, and you were performing your necessary duties.
Yes. I was preparing for visits to impose death upon those who wish to see me.
Yeah. Should we start calling you Vecna?
Sure.
I rewatched Stranger Things recently, and have you guys watched the latest season 4?
Yes.
And how he's like, it'll all be over soon is like this comforting thing before he snatches somebody's soul out of their body. I think you just need to claim that, Sal. It'll all be over soon. Then you put your hand on their head very slowly and suck their eyes straight out of the sockets.
Could I work at Joel Osteen's church? Just name it and claim it.
Boy, second time Osteen has been invoked in this podcast.
Osteen has been dropped a couple.
Yeah. Sure thing.
Never in flattering ways either. Oh God, bless his heart.
bless his heart. Actually, I have to check. I think I have actually gotten blocked by Osteen on Twitter because I refuse to call it X.
All right.
Fair enough. Screw X.
Oh no, it was somebody else. There was somebody else that I got that was like was harassing them. The Christian thing to do is to harass people on Twitter for Jesus.
Well, evidently on Twitter it is the Christian thing to do.
Well, fair enough,
I see people of all theological persuasions doing it, and it's like, well,
this is what we do on here now.
God says, "Love one another," except on Twitter.
And accept Russian propagandists. That's my main target.
Well, that's just you gotta Russian, Chinese, any propaganda from any group of people trying to do any kind of harm. I say stop. Yes.
Well, that's we were talking about TikTok because I saw you had sent me something, Sal. And one of the things that blows my mind about that is that apparently TikTok has been radicalizing users to support Osama bin Laden. There was like there was a series of things going out, and people were like re-TikToking or reposting or whatever you call it, like this. Basically, Osama was misunderstood, and he was just fighting against capitalism and American greed.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, this is how I know that TikTok is a problem.
Yeah. Wow.
Like people that my wife are coming across are saying like, yeah, it's totally fine that he did what he did, because
Wow.
I mean, it's
Wow.
nuts. It's nuts.
Yeah, go Osama, not. Wow,
Yeah.
okay.
But honestly,
But then
being
again,
immersed
look
in,
at who we support nowadays. So it's
Well,
not
right.
really that surprising.
I mean, but being immersed in the world of Russian propaganda, as I was on Twitter and have been continued to be during the Russian war with Ukraine, it actually has helped me to understand when this stuff is starting to happen. Like you can see what they're pushing when it starts coming around. You're like, oh, this is a point that they're trying to get across, and they're just going to get it out to as many people as possible.
Wow, yeah.
See if they can get them to back it. It's super fun.
Gee.
I mean, I know when there was a point where TikTok was, I mean, they were in Congress and everyone's concerned because it's a Chinese company and
Yep.
they're gonna steal your data and all this stuff. I mean, if you have an iPhone in your pocket, everyone has your data.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you're seeing it on all those, on X, Twitter, or whatever you want to call it now too. I mean,
Twix.
I will not call it X. I will not.
Yeah.
Twixer. I'll call it Twixer.
X Twitter. I mean, they're just the stuff that's popping up around the whole Israeli Gaza war right now too.
Yep.
Is
Yeah, just
You
the pop propaganda, and it's any of these like radicalized groups and regimes that like just on the sly, and really not so on the sly anymore, just are out there doing stuff. It doesn't take long or hard to find these bots and these other things that are just out there literally sowing seeds of hatred and division. Seeds that aren't good for anybody, probably not even good for themselves, but they're doing it. It's
Well, and there's actually a pretty solid, like, if we want to get, bring the theological back around, good, the good practice, the solid practice in biblical interpretation is go to the oldest source possible, correct? History,
correct.
same.
Yep.
So if you're on X in particular, you can find out when an account was created.
Yes.
Anything that was created in the last, like, new accounts that were started in the last 2 years, really from February 22 and on, if they're talking about Russia, they're Russians. They were made for that. And I'm sure there's a flood of new accounts from 23 in the last couple of months that are just going hard in the paint for Hamas and Palestine.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right? Same thing.
Yep.
So, little word to the wise on the old Twitter Elmo passion project. The newer the account, the less likely it is to have anything useful to say.
That's right.
Yep.
And friends, remember, not everything you hear or read on the internet is true.
Right? Yeah. Most of it is
yes,
not.
please.
Even
Except
our
for
show,
us.
by all means, except by us, I was gonna say, but even
Except
our
for-
show, by all means, do your homework.
Believe us and nobody else.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I always like to take Abraham Lincoln's advice. Never trust anything you read on the internet.
Yeah,
That's
true.
right. That was great
Yeah.
advice. I saw that meme.
That was a good one. He was really ahead of his time.
It was right there. That and there's one thing worse than slavery, and that's vampires. Damn it.
Yeah.
That was one of his
just
quotes.
just so you know, there was a drawing of Abraham Lincoln at the theater having a very, very good time. So he was never assassinated.
That is true. That is true. He lived. It was an early retirement that he had planned all along.
It was fine. Just like, on January 6th, all that video of them not
That was a planned
defacing.
that was a planned tourist attraction.
Yeah, it was just it was a tourist visit. I have video that proves it. All that other
Yeah,
stuff that you saw doesn't exist because I have this.
You can't make it up. The crazy is unfixable.
Yeah. So
Oh.
my wife is big into Christmas movies, like really big into Christmas movies. Um, but her sister and her developed a bingo game around it. So like you play bingo based on the tropes in the movies.
Okay, yes.
And so yeah, and Cassie created a document that auto generates new bingo cards every time you run it. So you'll never repeat them. So you never have the same bingo card.
Oh, that's cool.
Which it makes it a lot of fun. But like, there's been a meme going around that like, listen, if you're gonna, quit your big city job and go back to your hometown to marry the humble, helpful plumber, who's just trying to save Christmas, make sure you first ask him where he was on January 6th.
Hashtag true story.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, one of my favorite bands, and I still love the band. I mean, I've already owned their stuff, so whatever. And the rest of the members aren't this crazy, but one of my favorite bands, Iced Earth, metal band.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's his name? John Schaefer, who's the lead guitarist and founding member of this band,
Dude
was there on January 6th and is now doing prison time. So, he obviously, well, he says he saw the light, but we'll see.
Yeah, well,
he's seeing the light in jail, I'm sure. Or not.
Do what you got to do to try to get that.
That's a plea deal. Plea deal. Yep.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, like, great musician, great band. Bad idea, dude. Bad go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just, that day I remember we were on vacation when that unfolded. We were at Disney's Hilton Head Island Resort, and I had the TV on waiting for the kids to get ready, and all of a sudden I see a sea of people just flooding the Capitol. I'm like, nooses hanging, and I'm like, OMG, my God.
My favorite was all the Jesus flags that they were flying, literally.
I know.
It was
I know.
good.
It was a great show for God. A great witness to the love of Jesus Christ. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, remember, guys.
Hang Mike Pence.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Jesus.
I don't, listen, I don't have to agree or like somebody politically to know that hanging them is a bad idea. It's just not a godly thing to do. So like, to be in a group of people where I've also often said, if you find yourself on the same side as the KKK, you might want to revisit and reevaluate your position.
Yeah.
Just saying, like those ideologies don't typically mix too well, and when they do, that means you're sharing the same ideology.
Well, if you have a flag that says Jesus is my savior and Trump is my president, and you're chanting "Hang Mike Pence," you may be worshiping the wrong Jesus.
Yes, definitely the wrong Jesus. Definitely not the buddy Christ. That's for sure. Oh wow! Woo! Hot takes on the show today.
All around. Yeah, it's been a while since we've been together, so we got to get them out.
Yes, this is perfect. This is turning out to be a fun show too. Sal, when you go back and watch this, so we had some really interesting. We had a tour of Blake's house. I called Blake Sal at the beginning. This has been a wacky show. It's been fun.
Nice.
So I think this is a good place for us to end the conversation for now, but we do have our bonus segment. And so for those of you who are our patrons on Patreon, you can check that out. And if you are not a patron on Patreon, why? Just do it. Let me tell you, this will be the best Christmas gift you have ever gifted yourself. And we are this year going to try to record more than we have, but here we are for Christmas, my friends. Here we are for Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Here we are for Christmas.
So with that said, be excellent to each other.
Don't be a jerk.
Skål.
Skål.